Hi guys, Paul here from PABrewNews. Got a beer here from Strange Roots. Strange Roots Infinite Hibernation 2020 ale fermented in maple syrup bourbon barrels and native Pennsylvania yeast. I got some native Pennsylvania yeast for you somewhere on me. Okay, brewed with copious amounts of crystal malts and Belgian candy sugars, this year's vintage was oak fermented in maple syrup bourbon barrels with local yeast. PA Pride, PA Brew, PA Beer. Like it. Okay, and they're from Gibsonia, Pennsylvania. Brewed by Strange Roots Experimental Ales and distributed by the Shelton Brothers. It says here, refrigerate 24 hours prior to opening. So that's what I did. It's a cold beer right now. I'm not happy about that, but it is what it is. I don't want bottle bombs, so I did what they said. Now, the only thing other than that was they must have really tried to reinvigorate it with some yeast if it's going to be a bottle bomb. So, because normally just, throw it in the cask, it should have died out for a while. But I did what they said. I put it in the refrigerator, so it's a cold beer. It hurts my hands touching it. I don't understand what to do now. Big old Belgian cap on this one. So we'll get it cracked open and into the glass. We'll see what's up with the Infinite Hibernation Ale from 2020. Ooh, nice little smoke there. Pouring a nice caramel mahogany. Just throw it all in. Chuck it all in. A little bit of a yeast cake at the bottom, which is good. Back there. Leave all the dregs in the bottom. I put some of the dregs in, I know that, especially on that little second dribble. But it's not going to be a completely clear beer at any point in time. Swirl it up. Yeah, just dark. Really, very, very nice looking beer. It's actually a lot lighter than it is. It probably looks almost like a stout on camera, but it's a lot lighter than that. Little caramel muted hues through here, brown mahogany hues. Dark looking beer, obviously. And we have a bordering khaki colored head. Alcohol leg sticking, and I don't know if I remember to say this. It is, where did I see it? A very sessionable 13.4 alcohol by volume. 1349 is when the Black Plague hit Norway. So there we go. That's a Norwegian fact. So 13.4, that's a good ABV on this one. Here's the ABV. Here's the artwork. Right there. Strange Roots. Infinite Hibernation 2020. Little bear. Little bear. They don't just sit and sleep. They put themselves in little dens. I don't understand it. Anyway, here we go. It's cold, but we're gonna do what we have to do. Oof. Hi, Paul. Live feed didn't appear, so I had to go hunting. Oh, I'm sorry about that. I don't know why. Anyway, let me get an aroma on this very cold beer. Cheers. Yeah, it definitely has that Belgian candy sugar coming off in spades, plus a brown sugar tonality. And about that maple syrup, little woody oakiness. Lots of caramel, maple syrup, brown sugar, Belgian candy sugar. This is smelling pretty damn sweet and savory. There's that tannic component coming up, the woodiness. Definitely loving the burnt sugars. Wow. I'm trying to warm. And the thing is, this had no indication at all of being overcarbonated. So I'm kind of upset that I had to, put it in the refrigerator for so long prior to the instructions. Because I want to dive into this beer immediately, and I feel I really need to take my time with it and warm it up so you can get a proper indication of what the beer is. But we'll try it right now. Cheers. Oh, ding. Morning. Whoops. Morning, Deputy T-Catch. Cheers. Different, different beer. Not even near as savory and sweet and disgustingly and beautiful as I was hoping. A little bit of a. It's so goddamn cold too. It's hard, but there is definitely things going on here. Give a little wildness to this beer as well from that yeast. It's almost a hint of apple cider in there as well. If this smelled like the nose, it would be just a savory, disgusting bomb of goodness. This doesn't taste the way it smells so far. Little tannic tones still walking through. You have something that reminds you of slight apple cider. None of those beautiful, rich aromas are coming through in this beer. So sad, so sad, and it's so cold too. I'm going to say that a lot in this review. It is a cold, cold beer, way colder than any beer should ever be in a beer review. Even though other people tell me I'm wrong, because you know. Sharp, tannic, sharp, tannic, ethanol alcohols wafting through the palate. There's no real sweetness in this goddamn beer. Like, I was so excited by the smell. It's drier. It's dry. It's a little bit of that wild, earthy funk wafting through the palate. Get a little bit of apple cidery quality. Not pulling any maple syrup. Not pulling any caramels. Not pulling any of those brown sugar tonalities. That woody tannic note is definitely wafting through. Let's see. Only lager should be cold. Everything else should be cool or room temp. Actually, if you drink a really good lager, you can have room temp too. Narragansett is a cheap, available, very well available lager brewed since 1890, and it's great room temperature. So there you go. It's all about the quality of the beer. Okay, maybe try it midnight tonight if Josh is available. It's Wednesday. I go back to work tonight, so that was yesterday. Not not to get off topic. No, that's fine. Yeah, I was hoping someone would hit me up yesterday because I was okay with doing like a midnight remake head to head, but that was Tuesday nights. This is Wednesday. I'm actually off my hiatus tonight, so I go into work tonight for the first time in a while, and believe me, I'm not fucking happy about it. I have never taken this much time off work, and I really, really, really started loving it. I really started adoring time home to do things, to clean, to work on hobbies, to find more hobbies. Oh my God, it's been so fucking great. And if I didn't have to go back to work, I wouldn't. I really hated it at first too. Sweet impy stouts. Don't worry, you want to be short of them. Oh, I won't be short of them. So, well, thank you very much, Adam. Thank you very much. You're a king and a gentleman. I like the sweet, baby. I like the sweet and all the different flavors, but I like the chowy, smoky goodness too. I like the woodiness of this beer. I'm not digging the apple cider. That shit, I don't know why. I'm not horrible, but I'm like, I didn't expect that. You know what I mean? Pretty easy drinking. It's on that, of course, sour ale style because it's got that wild yeast in it, so it's wild ale. Um, nothing that you would get from the nose that was indicative of the nose. It's a sour ale. It's a wild ale, rather. It's a wild ale. It has a little bit of an apple cider kind of vibe to it. It has woody earthiness wafting through the palate. You don't really get the 13.4 as far as hitting you anywhere, warmth anywhere. hindering the drinkability. There's zips and whiffs of ethanol alcohols. The amazingly sad part is, to this beer, there are no dark fruits. There are no raisins, no dark fruits. Those beautiful savory characteristics that you would expect with an ABV that's this kind, with the malt base. You know what I mean? Those crystal malts and stuff like that. Bringing maybe some like Baker's chocolate, roasty toasted caramels, dark fruits and stuff like that. I'm not getting any of that really. Okay, no, that apple cider quality is dying down a bit. And when I first sipped this beer with a big breath of nose, you're getting a little hint of a raisiny brown sugar and a little bit of a cherry. But that apple cider is still coming in pretty hard and covering it up, but it's starting to dissipate. So hopefully that continues. I'm not really big. I like drinking apple cider when I want to drink apple cider, if you know what I mean. Creamy head, though. Beautifully creamy head. Real nice. Protein sticking on the side of the glass. Alcohol legs for days from the 13.4. Man, I mean, it doesn't drink like 13.4. I'm just amazed by it. It's just, you go whoop, and it goes right down. Bit thin. It's on the medium to low side of a medium body overall. Um, it's interesting. I'd say apple cider just seems like an off flavor to me, unless it's unless it's a saison, or well, it's a wild ale, so it's got those wild fermentations and stuff going on. So you don't know, it's a gambit. I mean, it's a gamble. None of the flavors that I'm getting are bad or off. If you know what I mean, they're fine. They're fine. They're accenting the other ones okay. It's an extremely approachable beer, I would say overall. It's not giving me what I wanted, what I expected, but it's not a bad beer. Like I said, I'm trying to take my time with it a little bit on this, about 13 minutes now, trying to warm it up. Hmm. Like I said, there's a little bit of tonality. I wish that brown sugar raisin was higher. This is a faint hint of it. A little bit of a cherry now, raising from the depths, mixing with that little bit of. It's actually pretty much neck to neck, if not slightly higher than that apple cider kind of quality that I had initially. Soft, toasted, like burnt caramels, burnt sugars are in the back of the palate, the sides of the palate, mixing with that little bit of woody tonality that's wafting through from the barrel aging. Not getting any bourbon, any maple syrup. It was a complete waste of maple syrup. Bourbon barrels, completely waste of everything. Because all this wild yeast has inundated and took over everything else. Ate up all the sugars, did everything. You know what I mean? That's why you got 13.4. But you also ruined all your beautiful savory characteristics that I would want from a big, huge savory hibernation ale. This beer makes me want to drink something else. That to get that same huge sensation that I was hoping from this beer. So yeah, if you like a soft wild ale, those little bit softer, richer, darker qualities, like I said, the toasted burnt sugars and stuff like that. God, the nose on this was stupid. The nose was like a 10. It was crazy. The beer in the glass being showcased right now, I think it's probably in the uh I can't. I don't want to beat the shit out of it. So it is a good beer. It is a good beer, and I think anyone should try it and definitely support Pennsylvania breweries and stuff like that. This is an experimental wild brewery that does experimental wild things. So, hey, it's not. I can tell you right now that most of their beers are probably not going to be for me. I was hoping dark, rich, and savory. I didn't get any of those things. Slightly dark tonalities. Rich and savory are not in here. Wild, light, approachable. 13.4 completely hidden. Completely, I don't even understand how you get 13.4 this hidden. It doesn't make sense to me. It's like 3.4. It's an approachable, light, wild, zippy, bright beer, I guess you would call it. 13.4 completely hidden. Panty dropper. That's good. Like I said, it's not for me. It's a good. I think I would give it overall an 8 out of 10. Overall, 8 out of 10. But it could have been so much more. You know what I mean? And this is why I love the. I mean, it's one of the. It's one of the funniest things about this beer. I really dug the whole local Pennsylvania yeast thing, native Pennsylvania yeast. That I pulled me right in, right? But I'm not really a big proponent for wild yeast because it doesn't do anything I like to these beers. I don't like for instance, he mentioned saisons, gozas, lambics, saisons. I hate all that spontaneous fermented crap. I hate it all. It ruins beers. I just don't like a lot of stuff like that. I like a proper, well-made beer with hygiene and things like that. But jokes aside, yeah, I would give it an 8 out of 10 though. I mean, like it's still. I don't hate it. I still enjoy the beer. I don't. I mean, I'd drink it again if someone. I wouldn't buy it again, but it was only for a 13.4 beer. It was only $7. You know what I mean? So I mean, that's cool. I still wouldn't buy it again because I know what's in the glass, and I know that it's not giving me what I expected. You know what I mean? That kind of thing. I didn't expect the wild, light, approachable zippiness that I'm getting. It's not bad. It's just not what I wanted. So there you go. Luckily, I have two 10% Imperial Stouts right here too. So there you go, right there. But for Strange Roots, oh, we got another one here. Yeah, it's not a bad beer. It really isn't a bad beer, and I'm not going to rip it apart because of that. Because it doesn't. It says Infinite Hibernation 2020 ale fermented with maple syrup barrels with native Pennsylvania yeast, and that is this. It is this. It is this. It's not giving it any false pretense that it's something else. It's not saying that it's an imperial stout or this or this. It says it's an ale with some crazy wild yeast, and there's a bitch ton of this in it, a bitch ton of that in it, a bitch ton of this in it. If I had maple syrup bourbon barrels coming out of this, I would have got a higher score, but it doesn't even have that. Everything's got eaten up by that crazy, intense, wild yeast. You know what I mean? And that's what happens when you put shit like that in it. Jamie comes in. Hey. Yeah, he gave it an extra. He gave it an extra point because it was a panty dropper. And you know what? You're not wrong. You're not wrong. The ABV is stupidly hidden. And if you like, people that like a little bit more on the zestier, wild ale side of things, the saisons and whatnot we talked about before, definitely give them this. And first, I mean, buy two of them and give them both and make them drink all of it. And then there you go. And then you'll have a good time. So that's a good thing. Anyway, this has been Paul from PABrewNews. Thanks for everybody commenting and joining. Cheers. Bye-bye. Watch that finger. Here it comes.